to
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis. I'm the president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host,
Tommy Lewis, president and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Tommy, man. How are you?
I'm well, Eric. It's great to see you. It's great to be here. Man, it's been a beautiful, wonderful start of this new year as we're in January, but I've had a good time professionally and personally, and it's good to be with us this morning on this beautiful Saturday morning.
Absolutely. And the whole nation, you can just hear the sound of birds across the nation, because we do not have our reality show chief Donald Trump as our president. Everything has sort of just calmed down. Isn't it nice to hear the soft, soothing voice of Joe Biden?
Yeah, I will say this: it's his voice is different than the guy before. I'll say that.
Right.
And then I will also say, from my perspective, low emotion.
Yes.
Fairly boring.
Yes.
To the point of governing. Right. So government is not emotion.
You mean he's going to work? He's showing up at the job every day.
Yeah, Eric, you and I, we run our business, and it's not always romantic.
Right.
It is just the sober conversation with a person across the table or people across the table, and then as we prepare for that 1 hour training, then that's when the bells and whistles are happening.
Right.
But it's the work for the weeks and the months and the years before that's pretty boring.
Right.
And that's what I'm sensing now. The sobriety that is overwhelming the country right now.
And I'll tell you, Tommy, there's some things that are surprising me about this. So number one, I heard that some of the people from QAnon are feeling a bit deceived by the former president. And so that's interesting that they're feeling like they were used. The other thing, as I saw yesterday on one of the news shows, they had gone to the place that more the highest percentage of people voted for Donald Trump in this community than in any in the country. So they went to that little community. And Tommy, this is telling, man, this is so important for us to grasp. They said, ask the people, can Joe Biden win over your support? And several of the ones that they posted said, yes, we're just needing to work on and focus on trying to bring the nation together. I was real pleased to hear that, man. Because, we've thrown them all away. Sometimes when you're in that bubble, you're in that cocoon, you don't know what life looks like outside of it. I think the inauguration was such a home run because it really focused on America from the start of Bruce Springsteen to others, man. And I was just grateful and blown away by how moved we were with the talent. It did look like Hollywood was like, da-da-da-da. Every scene was a sun coming behind people.
Right.
I see Jason is with us. Jason's going to be on our show. He and his wife are going to be on our show. They may be having some difficulty with the link. And so I'm going to send Brooke your phone number so that she can touch base with you.
Yeah. So, and as we prepare for Jason to join, and I believe his wife as well.
Right, Lavina. Mm-hmm.
That part of it is the platform. So we'll be cognizant of that, and look forward to having a conversation. And with regards to the inauguration, the other piece that I noticed is somewhat of what we do every Saturday morning, Eric. And you and I are talking virtually to each other. We're looking at a camera on our devices, and we're speaking to the world. And during the inauguration, because of the COVID pandemic, the audience was limited to none. Very, very small audience. And
Right.
so the speakers, the poets, and all these folks up on the platform, they're speaking to open air. Right. So those speeches, those poems, that singing, right? It's the openness. But for those of us watching it on our televisions and cell phones, it's as if we were there and this performance was for us.
Absolutely, man.
The people, right?
I'm going to bring Jason and Lavina in. I think they're with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Hold on, let us get our.
Y'all gonna have to get a little closer than that so we can see both of them.
Yeah. And Eric, let me do this. We need them to be in the center.
Okay. You'll go out and check in.
Yep.
Okay.
Look forward to having a conversation. And with regards to the inauguration,
do it this way.
It's the openness. But for those of us watching it on our televisions and
is that better?
Phones,
that is. I can see both of you all, and then Tommy will come back in. We'll see what happens then. How are you all doing this morning?
We're doing good. And yourself?
Excellent. We are so glad to have you with us this morning. And we are just sort of catching up with the week. That's kind of what Tommy and I do. So we're talking about the election, the inauguration, what's happening in our country, and really just feeling a little bit of breath of fresh air, that no stress that's coming from our TV every day around politics.
Right.
And the President Biden is really trying to do the things that will look out for Americans. I really did love the inauguration and all of the music. And, the young lady that was the poet laureate, she was phenomenal. Moving. And even people like Garth Brooks and Bruce Springsteen that looked like they were going for, country people and the Trump voter. They were just really trying to draw them in and say, look, we are one nation. And so I was really excited about that, man, and just pleased. And I know there are a number of things that I won't like about what Joe Biden does, his policies and everything else. But I just like, in the words of Donald Trump, that he reminds me a lot of Mr. Rogers. And I just hope that he can make it for a couple of years because he's looking a little frail. You get that makeup on you all the time. Well, I say, oh, come on, Joe. We need at least a year or two out of you. Don't throw Kamala into this thing in, 60 days.
Hang on, Joe. Hang on, baby. Hang on. Right.
Well,
Joe came in heel-toeing it. He came in heel-toe, boy, the slow walk. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No problem. I was just going to say I like the fact that we start out talking unity. Yes. Whenever we start on the right foot, we have a better chance on making things happen. But if we're already at each other's throats in the beginning, and just thinking me, that type of a mentality, we'll never accomplish anything. So I was happy, to see what his initial thoughts were concerning the nation, and how he's trying to bring that unity on every angle, on every ethnic group, on every policy, for America, not just for a specific group, but for America. And I think that's good. I think that's positive.
And I think that what you'll see, this is the last thing I'll say about this, and then we want you all to introduce yourselves, and we've got a lot to talk to you all about for our guests, for our community. We're going to be talking about relationships today. We got a husband and wife team that are going to talk to us about how you build a perfect relationship or navigate a regular relationship. So we're going
to healthy.
I'll tell you that, I just think that we as a nation have to find a way to come together. And I think that, our president wants to try to do that. It shows, the point I was going to make is that this is showing already the value of inclusion. In other words, Donald Trump said, I can do it by myself. And so what we saw is that he was able to do a number of things by himself. But what we're also seeing is that there were a lot of balls that got dropped because, you're just not able to keep all those things up. So there's a lot of plans that aren't built. We're seeing now the value of teams of people thinking about things. I mean, looking at the plan that they have for the vaccine distribution and all of that, that's a plan that comes from the synergy of multiple bright people working together. And so that's what we're going to see. This is going to be the evidence of inclusion and utilizing people more than ourselves. So the exclusionary, rugged individualism, I can do it by myself, is insufficient to lead a nation and to be a world leader. And we're seeing that already. We got a couple of guests that in our community. Terry Cooley is with us. Ken Wilson says hello, Jason. So
Hey.
Introduce yourself and tell people about the work that you do.
Well, we are the Slaughters. My name is Jason. This is my lovely wife, Lavina. And we're the co-owners of Love's Locket LLP. Now, when we created this company, it was designed to, and it is designed to help singles who are looking to get married. We're training how to date to marry instead of dating just for entertainment. And for married couples, we're kind of helping them to understand the why you got married, so that by understanding the why, you're able to know why you want to stay together. But not only that, also just to give you an understanding of what a healthy marriage or relationship is supposed to look like, and having that understanding of the why does it. A lot of times you'll see people get into marriages or relationships for the wrong reasons. So, we train in that area to kind of help that.
Okay, so let me ask my first question. And Tommy, if you want to jump in here, and then Lavina, we want to hear from you as well. What's wrong with dating for entertainment? Let's start there.
Okay, well, let's look at it this way. When people date for entertainment, one of the things that we train our singles in is that one of their main issues is dating for entertainment is like practicing divorce in your mind. So let me explain how that is.
Okay.
When we were younger, okay, and it don't matter if you're young or old, but in our younger days, when we would go out and we would want to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, we really didn't understand the concept of relationship, the commitment that comes with that. So our mindset was based on, hey, I'm gonna get with this person because they look good, we look good together, whatever. We can go out, to movies, we can go out to dinner, we can have our fun, blah, blah, blah. But I know this person isn't my soulmate. I know this person isn't someone I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Okay.
So what happens is we build a pattern of, when I don't like what is going on with this relationship, I will just leave. There's no commitment there. There's no accountability, no responsibility when it comes to the relationship. So what ends up happening is when we go through years of jumping in and out of relationships, with these people that we know are not our mates, when we find someone that we believe to be that person, we have already created a pattern over the years in our life. So when the challenges come in our marriages, when the storms come, and let me tell you, in any relationship, any marriage, you're going to have some storms,
Right.
When they come, you're so used to leaving when things don't work that you don't stick. And this is why in marriages today, and even specifically in the Christian community, and everything that we basically teach is based on biblical principles, but even in the Christian community, there's over 50% divorce rate. As far as as far as the numbers, it's over 50%. So I'm like, we have to do better in getting the understanding of the why. God doesn't create anything without purpose. And if your marriage or the person you want to be with doesn't have a purpose to it, then you're going to run into all kinds of problems. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying practicing divorce in your mind. That's dating for entertainment instead of dating to marry.
Well, let's let Lavina weigh in so we can, because Tommy and I every once in a while get accused of just the two of us being brothers talking. Lavina, give us your perspective on the work that you all do. Tommy, you're next up.
Yes, thank you, first of all, for having us on the show today. I really appreciate it. I do want to mention that on our website, we do have merchandise that we sell. I don't know if you see Jason sporting his hat here.
Love it. That's beautiful.
Yes, and yes. We also
type that into our chat area. Type in your information so that people can get to that.
Okay, yes, it is loveslocket.org where you can find our merchandise. But as far as talking about the dating, we do teach that because we feel that we need to teach our singles to guard their hearts. If they want to have entertainment, they can do group dating. But if they're in a relationship, a committed relationship where they're thinking about getting married, do that. Be committed and have a focus on getting married. But if you just want to have entertainment, then do group dating. And that way you can guard your heart from unnecessary pain and heartbreak.
That's good.
Have you found that as you look back at singles across the country, maybe even across the world, are women who are in the concept of dating for entertainment, are women dating more for entertainment, or are you finding that men are dating more for entertainment? And if so, why? And if not, why?
Well, I can tell you, for the women, it's more so they don't date as much for entertainment because women are emotional beings. Okay, so one of the things that I spoke about maybe about a month ago were the 5 pain points that all singles face. It's a challenge that all singles face. The first one being the pain point of time. And to go to your question, for women, a lot of times if they are dating for entertainment, let me rephrase that, because most of the times they are dating to marry. The reason for that is because of the pain point of time. Time is something that women face the challenge with more so than men, because women, they want to get married sooner because if they want to have children, they don't want to be having children in their late 30s. They want to get them out of the way normally. They look at the aspect that if I wait too long, somebody, my youth may be gone. So the challenge of time is an issue, not only with having children, but feeling like they may be getting too old, and their chances of getting a good man with all these young girls coming up is going to be an issue. So as far as time and women, I think that would be more so that they date more towards the dating to marry than for the entertainment aspect. Now you do have some that will, but they don't want to get married. They say they don't want to get married till they get up in age and want some company, that's going to be committed. But I would say that's more so towards the men that date for entertainment than women.
Now, the research is saying that millennials are taking their time more now, and they're waiting longer to get married, working on their careers and things like that. So do you think that that's changing a bit, or are we still kind of there? And it seems like women are changing a bit in terms of how they deal with casual relationships from like our generation, our parents' generation, for sure. What do you all see?
And there's another statistic that and this is just in the educated, since you mentioned that concerning the millennials. I know with educated women that have their masters and their doctor's degrees, their statistics as far as being single, unmarried, are a lot higher than those who may just only have an associate's or a bachelor's degree. Now, one of the reasons I believe that is the case is because, these days, women, they're coming into the dating game with their own houses, with their own cars, with their own stock options, with their own money. They're coming in fully loaded, you know, and you know, a lot of times, and that doesn't mean you have to have a doctor's or a master's to have that, because a lot of the women these days are getting their houses in their early 20s. You know, they're focused more. But when you get those other groups, now, you know, there is a mentality that, you know, I'm not going to settle for someone who does not have what I have, even at the expense of love. So what ends up happening is a lot of women that are highly educated, and it's not to say they can't find someone with a doctor's or master's that has love. I'm just saying that statistically, it's showing that there are more of them that are single than those who don't, and I believe that could be based on the fact that, you know, their desire to have someone on that level is fewer. So you have to make sure that if you are waiting to date to marry, you know, based on wanting to get these degrees, get your job, and there's nothing wrong with that, getting your careers and all that, that you don't allow that to be a problem when it comes to finding who God may be sending to you based on who he knows is going to be best for your heart. Does that make sense?
Right. Lavina, let me ask you another question, then I'm going to come back. Jason, I want you to finish out those 5 pain points.
Okay.
Lavina, let me ask you this. I've got a daughter. And what advice are you all giving women around where to find the right man, how to find the right man? I tell people that when I was dating way back many decades ago, that it felt like sometimes people was always trying to do the other person a favor. Like, why y'all doing them a favor? Do me a favor. Let me get something I'm not supposed to get, you know? And so my daughter is at that place right now where she certainly is got her career started, looking for the husband. You know, it's hard to find them. We all sheltered in place and everything like that. What do you say to women about that? And how do you help women avoid sort of cashing out early? In other words, because it doesn't seem like they can find the right man, compromising and just settling with whoever's close or whoever friends think that you should get with.
Right. That's a good question. Well, we all know that in the church, if we're looking at the church aspect, that women outnumber men. So
right.
It's very rare that it happens, but I hear a lot of complaints like, where's the men at? Where are the men? I'm not sure if you know where me and Jason met. We met online.
Okay.
Yes, and plentyoffish.com. Yes, plentyoffish.com.
Okay.
And I was totally against it. This was 10 years ago.
Right.
Now it's more popular, but I was very skeptic. My friends encouraged me because I was in my 40s, my late 40s, my mid 40s, and they were determined that I wasn't going to be 50 and never married. So I got online, and I was only on there for 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks. And Jason found me. I repeat, Jason found me. I wasn't searching online. I put myself online in my profile, and but he did the searching. He reached out to me, and I responded, and the rest is history. So that's one avenue. If you're skeptical and hesitant about that, yes, there are some cray-crays out there online. So you got to be careful, and you got to weed them out. But use discernment, read the profile, you know, don't meet up right away, and, you know, make sure that you maybe talk on the phone first, you know, use your discernment to fill a person out. And that's just one avenue. Another avenue is, hey, the old fashioned way of blind dates, you know, your friends hooking you up with somebody, that still works. Right. You know, because your friends know you, and then your their friends know them, so they know pretty much what you would like, you know, the type of person. So yeah, still people meeting up that way still stands.
Okay. Tommy, you have anything else you want to throw in there before we?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting conversation. And then I have a question as well. My wife, master's degree in family and marriage therapy. And you know, she is seasoned, you know, making that turnaround third in her career. and her filter is zero. Her filter is zero. Her advice and direction to couples, and we've been doing couples and marriage counseling for about 10 years.
Okay.
And we see different types of couples across this country, particularly in the markets that they're in. So the Midwest is a very different dating market than down south, say Atlanta, Miami, Jacksonville, Florida, or Los Angeles, where I went to school, in LA. Very, very different competitive dating scene. So my question is, why should anyone get married today?
And you know what? That is definitely a question that we ask first of all.
Okay.
You know, when we start our session, we ask them, you know, why do you want to get married? Because I take it back to the fact of, again, you know, on the biblical aspect, is that marriage is a God institution. Okay, number one. Secondly, God doesn't create anything without purpose. Number two. So when I ask a couple, why do you want to get married? I expect you to already know what vision, what mission statement, you know, all these things should already have been discussed. And this is one of the things that we have in our sessions. I have our singles create a vision and mission statement for their life. Now, we'll do it for businesses, we'll do it for our churches, we'll do it for our schools, but we don't do it for the most important thing, which is ourselves.
Right.
So when I tell them to write out, and it's specifically for the men, because the men are supposed to have the vision for the family. Okay, so, you know, and then when the woman sees this vision, she can say, hey, I accept this vision and I want to help you to complete or to fulfill this vision. Or she can say, no, I've got something else, or I'm looking for somebody else that has a different. Okay, so when we have them create this vision and mission statement, the vision is basically going to say, hey, where do you see, or where do you plan on taking our family within, let's just say, the next 5 years? What does that look like? The woman wants to know, because women are searching for security, stability, you know, love, you know, affirmation. They're looking for all this family. They're looking for all this out of the man. So when we ask, where do you plan on taking the family within 5? Where do you see the family in 5 years? And then the mission statement is, the mission part of it is going to say, how do you plan on making this happen? Okay. So then after you create the vision, after you stated what your plan is to make this vision come to pass, then you write down what your roles are. Okay. So the roles are going to be based on, as a husband, what do you see yourself? What does a husband look like to you? And the man is going to be writing his out. And then the woman's going to be writing out what she thinks a husband's going to be for her. And then the same thing, vice versa, with the wife aspect. They're doing the same thing. So now when they come together, you know, and then of course there's more to it. I've got a survey that's detailed out from credit to health to criminal activity. I mean, the whole gamut, because these are things that are important. So, you know, when you have these particular things, these questions answered, and you bring them back to each other, you know, because you don't work on them together. You do it separately. And then when you come together and you exchange them, you both can look at what each other's answers are, and then you can see if there's anything that is a deal breaker within this. So when you say, why should we get married? When you've answered these questions, you will know the why. You know, you will know, you know, if this is something that you can feel committed to, you know, to make sure that, you know, this is the right path for you. But most people, you know, who are even contemplating marriage, and if you don't mind, I want to go into those 5 pain points.
Yeah.
That you were talking about. These are the reasons why they get married, you know, and they're not the right reasons. So what ends up happening is that, you know, when you don't come with the survey, the vision and mission statement first, when you don't come with information, knowledge that turns into wisdom in your choices, this is what happens. So the 5 pain points that we speak about is, again, the first one was time. You know, people make choices based on time, thinking that they're running out of time. You know, secondly, they make choices based on sex, intimacy. Nowadays is test drive the car before you buy it.
Right.
People are out there making choices to get into relationships for that reason, another bad reason. Thirdly, they may get into a relationship or want to get married because of being lonely. Loneliness is a pain point for singles, and this pandemic has intensified, that feeling of loneliness, because you don't even have the public to be able to help you with. So a lot of times that will be an issue. Peer pressure, number 4, is a pain point for singles, because we think peer pressure is just based on children, but peer pressure goes for adults as well. We face peer pressure as well, so we can make bad choices based on peer pressure. And then finally, finances. These days, in order to have a lifestyle that most would want, if you're not doing 6 figures, on your own, you need 2 incomes, to have a middle class, lifestyle. So these are the 5 pain points that singles face, when going through this process of singlehood. And then when you're talking about dating to marry, they have to make sure that they have these particular things covered, understood, so that they're not making bad choices to get married, or based on these particular things. But if they decide to get married, is based on having that knowledge of what the vision looks like, what the mission entails, what my desires are, what my expectations are, of you as a wife, as me as a husband. You have this information, already within yourself. You have that to use and to be able to make a decision that is going to benefit you.
That really is good, and I think that those pain points are driving people.
Absolutely.
Now, how long have you all been doing this together? And do you have a running tab on how many couples have sort of transitioned from singles to married?
You want to answer that?
Well, we actually, Jason's probably been doing it longer on his own, but when we got married, we've been married for 10 years. And the church that we were in, we were asked to be over our marriage small group.
Still in.
And Marriage Matters was the name of it. And so we started out, we did that for 6 years. And we pretty much, that was our platform, our what do you call it? Springboard. That's what I'm trying to say. Our springboard that kind of got us into this. People started to reach out to us. They wanted counseling. They wanted guidance. They wanted information, singles and married. So this is what really birthed, and we were already passionate about it. So we decided, this was something that we wanted to do. And we were prophesied on, even when we were dating, we were engaged. We were prophesied on that we were going to be helping couples. They saw couples in our living room. They saw us counseling them and teaching them. So we knew this was the path that we were supposed to go. So we've been doing this together. To answer your question, I would say 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Then Terry Cooley's got a question here too. I'm going to ask you a question, but I want you to slow down before you answer it.
Okay.
So the question is that a lot of singles, especially single Christian women, are constantly confronted with the notion of, should I only consider Christian men? Slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know what the Bible says on it.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says that you should be equally yoked. But here's some other realities.
Talk about it.
That in the church, sometimes there's greater pimps in the church than there are in the world. That's the church pimps. They go around dating one woman to the next. And that's the crop too often that you have to choose from. Then you meet a brother in the street that's not saved, but he is a real guy. And he's, got a great heart and things like that. Now, I'm not trying to go against the Bible.
Oh, I understand.
I'm asking you, how do you counsel people when they, on either side, either the man that's considered a woman that might not be saved, a woman considered a man, how do you counsel them?
Okay, now, and that's an excellent question, and I can tell you that some people are better by nature than we are by practice. So I understand that concept of finding, possibly finding someone, that may not have the maturity spiritually that you have. Okay. Now, the danger of it, is that, first of all, how can two walk together unless they agree?
Okay.
Okay. So, if you're coming into this relationship and the person, he may not be, since we're talking about Christian women with possibly unsaved men, he may not have all the biblical knowledge, but he should have some knowledge of God, or some. If he's specifically saying, "Hey, I don't believe in God," period.
Right.
To me, that's a problem. Okay. Because if she's one that does believe in God and she wants to continue to go to church and continue to bring her children up in that area, or whatnot, and the man saying, "No, I don't believe in that. I'm the head of the house. You ain't going nowhere." Now you done brought in some issues that you wouldn't have had to deal with had you been with somebody that was at least in the vicinity.
Okay.
Of what you believe, at least know that there is a God.
Right. Right.
And
you gotta have some clay to work with. You gotta have some clay to work with.
You got to have something to work with, and because again, there are good men out there that may not have had the opportunity to meet God in that personal relationship. Right. And going back to the Bible, the scripture says that the woman sanctifies the man. So there's not to say that that you coming together that you're not going to cause them to. Let me just clarify. Okay. You can't get a man saved. Right. You can't say because you're a Christian woman, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna get him saved. Nah, you can't. Right. There has to be some underlining desire to know who God is already. Right. And to be honest with you, in America, it ain't like we have not heard or we have not seen.
Right.
And or that there is not someone out there that God has for you. There's two choices in God's will that you can be in. You can be in his perfect will, or you can be in his permissible will. Now if you're in his perfect will, these are times when God, he's going to bring, you pray, he's going to bring the right one to you. He knows what the desires of your heart is. He wants you as a father to give you the desires of your heart. But if you want to be if you're going to be in his permissible will, because God ordained marriage, because that's his institution, he can still bless it, even if you are with someone who is not spiritually mature. He can still bless it. However, it doesn't mean you're not going to go through some things based on that choice of not being in his perfect will and being in his permissible will.
So I'm gonna tell you this, then Tommy, you can jump in there. I tell you, I like kind of how you're thinking about this, because I find that the church sometimes and Christians are so hardened in their response on that then they are not accessible from a counseling standpoint to people who are in a different place. Yeah. And so what I hear what you're not in any way going against the word, but what you're saying is that you got to stay in the conversation with people. You can't just say black, white. If it ain't one or the other, I can't help you. You're working with people. You're talking about some of the consequences, and you're saying some things that people need to hear, because the word is saying that for a reason. There's a reason why God wants us to be yoked together equally.
And everybody's not in the perfect will. Everybody's not in that perfect will. So most of the people that we're going to have our sessions with are going to be those that are in the permissible will. They may have made these choices understanding.
Right. Tommy, any other questions or thoughts? I know Terry had a thought. He just wanted to ask you about, do you have any success stories? Tommy, if you got anything else you want to ask before that, I'll go back to our questions other than that.
So just 2 days ago, I was invited by my wife to go to her girlfriend's son. They're in their mid-30s. That was newly married. They got married. They went to the Justice of the Peace on Wednesday or Thursday, I'm sorry, and they got married. And we came together at a restaurant, masked up, socially distant. There were maybe 25 people there, spread out pretty good. The demographics of the attendees range from late 20s to maybe late 70s. And then we had an opportunity for folks to give their toast. Now, I've been married, divorced, married. We have kids from 42 years old to 14 years old, 9 grandkids. Some of them, our kids are married, divorced, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to a lot of stuff with regards to relationships and marriage. And now are the toasts. And you have some younger people stand up and give a couple of toasts, and I'm just listening because I don't want to really emotionally get involved with the that's what it is. Right? So the 2 seniors, they stand up, and to me, it sounded very typical. It was typical speech. So I'm going to give you very quickly what they said, and then I'm going to ask you literally the how do you do it. So one comment was, whatever you do, young people, never go to bed mad.
Right.
Now, I don't know about you all. I've heard that 1,000 times. I have a wife. I've gone to bed mad. I may have said, listen, I'm not mad. And I go to bed and something's still in my spirit. Right? So I had to deal with that in myself when I woke up. And if it was in her spirit, she didn't just deal with that in herself. She dealt with me. So that residual anger or frustration in my life and in my marriage has lasted months. Literally. I've had arguments that are 2 and 3 months long. Right? So that's one. The other comment was, young, I've heard that before. There's an assumption that, yeah, I'm going to keep God first, but then life and emotions happen. My real question, practically and tactically, one, how do you not go to bed in any point of your marriage angry? How do you not do that?
Okay.
Number 2 is, how actually in any situation in your marriage do you make sure that both parties are keeping God first in mind, speech, and actions?
And those are great questions. Those are great questions. And I have a great answer for you. So first of all, we have to be realistic when it comes to, we know that the Bible says that you shouldn't go to bed, angry, don't let the sun come down on your anger. Okay. So realistically, the way that you can actually help to not do that, I ask God, first of all, how often are we supposed to forgive each other, right? And then in the Bible it says 70 times 70, and all that. Okay, right? So, but I said, God, I know that's what it says, but then this is what he told me. He said, you should forgive as often as you want me to forgive you. One. Secondly, in order to avoid or try to avoid, because being in the flesh, teeth and tongue fall out all the time, right? But they come back together. But realistically, what he told me is that we have to have the ability to show grace when judgment is justified. Think about it.
I like that.
You have the ability to show grace. See, our problem is that we all want to be right. Don't nobody want to be wrong. So the issue is that we have to understand, and this goes into our definitions of love as well. Because I tell people that love is not just about convenience, but it's about sacrifice. Yeah. It's not about 50-50, but 100% commitment. And I hear people say, I can't give 100% commitment. Can't nobody always. But see, you forget the mentality that you are no longer single. You're not two, but you're one when you get married. So if you're one, if one of you are giving 100%, but the other can only give 20 or 30, within the oneness, you're still giving 100%. And so if the husband is giving 100, but the wife can only give 30 or 40 at this time, you still have 100 being given. If the wife can give 100, but the husband can't, this is where love ain't just about convenience, but sacrifice. And one of the things I ask singles when they come in, I said, look, you talking about you love this person. You will answer this question. Are you willing to suffer?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
That's the first question you got there, because ain't none of us perfect.
Right.
And none of us perfect. And there's going to be times when I hurt my wife's feelings, or she hurts my feelings intentionally or unintentionally, because we in this flesh. So what we have to understand is when we have those heated fellowships, those moments of heated fellowship, we have to have the mentality that I'm going to have the ability to show grace when judgment is justified. Meaning, if I'm right and my wife is wrong, I have to be mature enough at times, and vice versa, to show grace. To show grace, even though judgment is justified. Does that answer your question?
And go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, that answers that question of going to bed angry. The second question was around how does a couple keep God first?
And let me weigh in on the first one, Tommy, before we go to that beautiful second question. Because I tell you, this notion of not going to bed angry. So first of all, when I think about the way that I was raised, and I think about the word that talks about the man being the head of the household, and a lot of people are all over the place on that. But I believe that too often men look at that as being, I'm the boss of the relationship.
Yeah.
And what I have discovered is that what that means is I have to be the first one to say I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have to be the one that has to be strong enough to eat humble pie, as my shoe shine guy used to tell me at the airport. Eric, sometimes as a man, you have to learn how to eat that humble pie. And so it feels like, and I know this is not right, but this is the way our brain works. It feels like I'm always the one that has to apologize. I'm always the one that has to concede. But what I have found is that whenever there is anger and upsetness, it's usually something that's really more deeply underlining that which we're arguing about. And I find that sometimes my pride, the self-conversation that I'm having, my internal guy is not helping me.
Yes.
He said, Eric, we done took it too long. You've been backing up the whole way. It's your time. Stand up. Get a spine, brother. And I'm listening to him like, bruh, you're not helpful. You're not helpful at all. I'm about to be on the couch again because of you. And so what I find is that we oftentimes, we don't see ourselves. And the story that we're telling ourselves is that I've conceded too many times already. I'm going to draw the line here. And when I do that, we'll just go on. And she certainly can be more stubborn than I, so we'll go on like that. Sometimes she stormed out, went to the hotel, it's been a while on that one. But I just want to say that, at the end of the day, we finally realized that our love has to be strong enough for us to find a way back together. And those things that could cause us to hold on to that anger for a long time, Tommy, on our good days, we find our way back to some sanity and some humbleness and some forgiveness. On other days, man, we just wade through it. And that's what I do too. I wade through it, until I can get some better answers.
That's good. I'm gonna let, did you want to answer anything?
Well, are we going to the second question, keeping God first?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Before we go to that, then I'm gonna let you touch on that. I want to touch back what you were talking about, Eric. So, again, this goes to definitions, about what love looks like to each person. And love is not selfish. Number one is selfless. So, if it looks like both, if a wife, if it seems like a husband is the only one that's always apologizing, then there's a selfish mentality somewhere in there, because the only way that a couple can literally walk together in agreement is that you have to have some agreement that you are at fault as well, because nothing good goes bad by itself.
Right.
We all have accountability. We all have issues. We all have challenges that we have to work with. So, we all have to, even if you're conceding, she has to also concede in where she was wrong.
Take ownership.
Because that way, the oneness, because I can't chop my arm off. If we're one body, I can't chop my arm off and you not feel it. You see what I'm saying? So right. That mentality of oneness.
I would say that that's technically correct, but in the reality, there's two places where that falls down a little bit. Number one, it falls down on the notion that I'm always the one apologizing. That's probably inaccurate. Okay. That is my view of it.
Okay.
So I have to understand that my brain, again, is not always working on my side. And the other thing I would say is that, we each have areas of strength and weakness.
Yes.
I'll never forget, I was on the phone. This was probably a year or two ago. I was on the phone in the bathroom arguing with my wife. She was outside the house. I was in the house, in the bathroom, arguing with her on the phone a little bit. She was mainly arguing at me. And my daughter was there. And so my daughter jumped in. Like, Mommy, what Daddy's saying is, she just jumped in. And I grabbed the phone like, oh, my bad, baby. No, she didn't hear the whole thing. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Okay, I see you when you get home. But my daughter looked at me like, Daddy, what was that? I said, baby, look, I said, you'll understand this when you get older. I said, sometimes you have to lose the battle to win the war.
Mm-hmm.
I said, sometimes you have to apologize even when you may have been right.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because your mother has done the same thing. In a marriage, your mother has done some things that have kept us together. And you know what my daughter said to me? She looked at me and said, oh my goodness. She said, I didn't know that. I thought whenever you was right, that you argued to the death. I didn't notice sometimes you folded. Yep. Even when you felt like you were right. So that's what a relationship is too. You know what I mean? So I see it a certain way. I know that that's not the full picture. I think it's so important for us to recognize that our brain doesn't have within it the whole picture. I agree with the spirit of what you're saying around all of us has to be willing to apologize. Everybody's got to get a hold of that. I totally agree with that.
This is what has helped me. Okay, yeah. Then I'm gonna let Lavina do this. My mother told us a long time ago that God does not judge us by what people say or do to us. Mm-hmm. Judges us by how we respond to what people say and do to us. Good. And I have tried to live my life based on that that statement, so that my choices, my reactions are tempered.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then I let Lavina answer on keeping God first in mind, speech, and actions.
Yes, well, that goes back to the question was how to keep God first in mind, speech, and actions. Well, I think that goes back to being equally yoked again, because both of you have to have the same mindset to want to keep God first in your marriage. So women, I'm speaking on the for women, on the aspect of women, who do you want to submit yourself under? Do you want to be with someone who is not God-fearing or believe in God at all? Then you put your place in yourself in the place of being the priest of the home. You are then now the leader that has to initiate prayer, Bible studying because of your faith. So that's something very important to look at. And then in marriages, as far as speech and actions, we sometimes get comfortable with each other. Oh, that's my wife, that's my husband. But we don't look each other, keeping God first, as a brother and sister in Christ. So, and therefore, sometimes we go out and treat strangers or people that we're not married to better than we treat each other.
That's beautiful.
So we keep God first, God-minded. This is my husband is my brother in Christ as well. The scriptures that tell me to treat my neighbor as myself and to do good unto, I have to do that to him, not just, oh, that's just my husband or that's just my wife. I can treat him any old kind of way, because we all know each other's trigger points and buttons to push.
Right.
And so it ought not be said that we go out and treat strangers and other people more kindly and politely than we do our spouse that we made vows to.
Oh, right. What's that? What was that? The lady up in California, what was her statement about one? You that's the one you chose, love the one you.
Oh, you talk about, oh yes, there was a lady, she's an elderly lady, she was a pastor's wife, and she said, you chose the one to love, now love the one you picked.
Oh, okay, that's good. Tommy, let me come back to that question as well, because there's something deeper that you're sort of alluding to. You're talking about the bumper stickers of advice that people give us.
Yeah.
And you're saying, how do we deal in the real world with bumper stickers? It's one of the things that I struggle with in the church. And it's one of the things that makes the church less fulfilling to people. When we come to people with unrealistic conversations, and we're not really willing to meet them where this flesh sometimes is. And so I can tell you this, that technically speaking, accurately speaking, the more I'm able to keep God first, the better all things go in my life. No doubt about it. But on some days throughout every day, I'm not keeping God first.
Absolutely.
I'm acting a fool right now. And God is having to hold his nose while he looks down on what I'm doing, saying, and thinking. And the thing is, the good news about God is that God has given us this word called grace.
Grace.
His unmerited favor that says that when I'm stinking it up, Tommy, I'm not keeping God first. I don't want to hear nobody tell me that. Because right now I'm on a roll of keeping myself first and my points first. So the good news about God, and that song says, I'm so glad that God made me. Because if man would, and right. So I'm grateful for that. What I know this for sure, Tommy, that when I don't keep God first, because I choose not to, I do. I make that choice. Yeah. It doesn't go as well for me, period. Yeah. It just doesn't, man. And so sometimes though, I tell people in my life, the flesh is always wanting to drive. That's what I'm saying. God, give me the wheel. I got this. And God asked me in my older days, Eric, are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, I got this. But every time I get the wheel, I'm in the gutter. I know it. Every time I get it back from God. I drive right into the gutter. So after a while, he just starts saying to me, bro, you sure you want that wheel again? And so
You know,
I'm trying to take the wheel less and trying to give it over to God more. Tommy, that's hard.
and you know what? Let me just add this. Even on our, and we have to understand this, because even on our best day, on our best day, I mean, when we thinking that we have done everything right,
right,
that we have done everything that we believe God has required of us to do, even
right.
on our best day, our righteousness is like filthy rags.
Right.
And when they're talking about filthy rags, they're talking about the rag of a woman during her menstrual cycle. That's the filth of our righteousness. And this is why that grace that you were just speaking of, Eric, is so important. It's not all based upon our actions. It's based upon what he did.
Right.
What he did for us that allows us to receive this grace when judgment is justified. So I understand what you mean by when you say that, hey, you know, yeah, I am a Christian man. I do love God, but there are moments in my life when my flesh overtakes what my spirit man wants me to do.
Exactly.
You know, does that take me out of being a Christian? Absolutely not.
No.
You know, all it says is that I'm still in this process. You're still in this process. And as this process continues, and it will continue as long as you live. Right.
Right.
You're not going to get your perfection until you dead and in your immortal body that God has, when he strips away the flesh altogether. Outside of that, you are a work in progress. But you have to at least understand that when you step out of lane, that you can get back in lane by asking God, by asking your wife, by asking your husband, by asking your children, by asking your neighbor to forgive you, whomever. When you fall, you acknowledge it and you ask for forgiveness, and then you move forward. Our problem is we like to store up ammunition for future heated fellowships. That's the problem, you know. But we all are flawed,
right?
Only made in perfection by God's grace.
So this alludes me back to one of the original questions, because I'm enriched by the conversation, and what it sounds to me is that this thing called marriage is work.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm hearing. It's work. It's not only work between the two human beings, but as imperfect people born in sin, God is continuously working on us.
Yes.
Whoa.
And so now I need to come back to the original question, because we're all married and been married for some time with kids that are trying to get married.
Right.
The original question is, with all this work, stress, and frustration, and downs, maybe up, downs, maybe an up, this arduous battle with another person, if they would just do what I need them to do, we'll be all right. If just why should I get married?
Well, I'm gonna take a shot at it. Then Jason and Lavina, I want y'all to jump in on it because I'm feeling that one, Tommy. So I can tell you why. Because I have the greatest blessing in all the world is my wife. And I'm seeing right now, after 31 years, she is my best friend. I love her laugh. I love her joy. I love what we're building together. And I see everything else around me is preparing to leave. And there's nothing but loneliness left in this world if you don't have somebody that you're married to. Somebody who is pulling for you to win. Somebody who can just gain, that can just get the joy of hearing their story, them laughing at your jokes. I was talking to a young man the other day. If I didn't send you this letter, Tommy, I'm gonna send it to you. Young man heard me speak at a Martin Luther King celebration at Springfield, Ohio last Friday. And then he said, Mr. Ellis, I got to get with you. And so he called me on Wednesday, and then he just talked for 30 minutes nonstop, trying to tell me his whole life because he wanted me to kind of be a mentor. But one of the things he said to me, he said, Mr. Ellis, I don't understand this. He said, but me and my fiance, we just are happy. He said, we were just so happy the other day. He said, and we said, we're broke, but we happy. But we broke, but we happy. I said, brother, that's it.
That's it.
I said, that is the best that life has to offer. Yep. People, don't let nobody deceive you into thinking that life has something greater than that to offer. That's it. That's the magic, is having somebody, Tommy, that through the fights, through the arguments, through the weeks of not talking to each other, whatever it is, that at the end of all of that is my soulmate, my best friend, the person that maybe I can get to the finish line with. And I'm so glad that for me, that is Judy Ellis, because that girl's getting colder in the olden days, boy. She gets colder.
Yes, sir.
She gets colder. She colder now. And she's brilliant. And she has a beautiful way of belly laughing at my jokes. And you know, that's the best gift that I can ever get, is somebody that laugh at my jokes. So I'm good.
And you know what? That is excellent. An excellent reason on the marriage side.
Yes.
That's an excellent reason on the marriage side of the why, you want to get married, because this is a question that singles have asked.
That's good.
As far as, when do I know I'm ready to date? To marry? And my question, or my answer, has always been when you don't have to ask the question. Because first of all, you know what you need.
Okay.
You know what you want. And just for the singles, everybody does not, you might not be called to be married. Paul was not called to be married. He said, if I could, if it was my choice, I would have you be as I am, dedicated fully to the work of the ministry, the work of the Lord. So just because you're single and you're not married doesn't mean that you are lacking in anything or actually missing in anything, because it starts first with you being whole. You can't think that getting married, number one, is going to fulfill or complete you.
Okay.
Completion, first of all, only comes from God. He completes you in him. What a husband or wife does is enhance you. It enhances and it strengthens, as Eric was saying, it strengthens you in areas where, affirmation is needed, where, companionship is needed, relationship, friendship, those type of things. And as a single, you can get those in groups outside, but there's a difference, because when the Bible says where two come together with the Holy Ghost, that third strand, cord, it makes you even stronger. So, even the concept of two heads is better than one.
Right.
It's all that's still a marriage concept. It's a principle, but as a single person, you can be whole as well. You can be satisfied. You can be fulfilled as well. You just got to make sure if you're going to stay single, that you stay single. Don't be trying to be single living like a married couple, trying to get the benefits and the privileges that come with that. If you're going to be single and dedicate, your life to the things of God or the things of, of humanity or whatever, then you do those things, with that understanding, but the why should I get married is going to be different for each person, because each individual will make that choice to marry or stay single based on who they think they are and where they think they are supposed to be going.
And I like to say that singles, we counsel them in expectation to have those bumps in the road, and how to deal with them, how to navigate through marriage, because we realize they're going to come. You know, just like in a man's
Absolutely.
life, trouble is going to come. So the why should I get married? It is not good for men to be alone. And as he already said, 2 is better than 1. 1 can put 1,000 a flight, 2 can put 10,000 to a flight. So at the end of the day, though, your good days should outweigh your bad days in your relationship. You should be able to see. And as you're longer married together and you learn each other, you should have less of those bad days.
Absolutely.
And more good days.
Now, let me throw this at y'all. I'm going to throw something at y'all from my grandmother. It may be sexist and offensive today. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought it all out. My grandmother used to say to young women, don't be laying around with that man. Why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free?
There it is.
So I don't know if that really still fits today or if that sex is out the line. I don't know. But here's my question to you all. How long should a woman be stayed up dating a man, waiting on him to pop the question? I've seen women sometimes 3, 4, 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
The man doesn't look like he's capable of asking the question. The clock is getting past them. That's your pain point.
Mm-hmm.
Clock is starting to get past them. What do you all advise them around? Because I find that some men, it's hard for them to pull the trigger without some pressure. Do you all have any time frame, or do you just kind of say to people, let it ride?
And that's an excellent question as well. And we do. And this is one of the reasons why we have them fill out the vision and mission statement for you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah, because what makes men trigger fearful is not necessarily always not wanting the commitment, but a lot of times it can be based on not knowing the vision. Not because they don't, you know, they see what good marriages through their parents, or they see what the benefits are, but they don't understand a lot of times what the responsibility is, what you are accountable for, where you're supposed to be, where the fruitfulness comes in, where you're supposed to be taking this to, you know. So what that vision and mission statement does, and when we're doing our sessions with young people and with married couples, what it is doing is it's giving them a bigger picture. It's giving them a bigger picture of what this thing is supposed to be like. And I've seen a couple of people asking about success stories. We have several videos from those whom that we have done counseling with, who have given us videos. I have written a book on what men desire and women need to know back in 2007, 2008. And I've got testimonials all over the country of those who have read the book and have literally stated that, hey, if I'd have known this before I got married, we still be married. You know, so knowledge is what we offer. We're offering knowledge based on not only our successes and our failures, but also from the successes and failures of others that we have spoken to. Also from revelation from God and the wisdom of God that he has given us, because knowledge, if used properly, becomes wisdom. And then wisdom allows you to respond to every situation correctly. And one of the questions that, or one of the prayers that I've always prayed to God, and I continue to pray, is, God, allow me to give me the wisdom to answer every man according to your word. According to your word, not mine, but according to your word. You know, and this is why I am very careful on how I articulate what I want people to understand regarding marriage, regarding relationship, as it aligns with godly principles, but at the same time, realistic expectations. Thank you, baby.
Okay, so let me jump in. Let me just sort of speed date for a minute, because our time actually has even come to a close. Shockingly, I want you to talk about what is the profile of people that come to you. How can people get contacted with you all? Do you do one-on-one? Do you do small group? Just talk to us about the sort of the profile of people that come to you. I imagine a young lady can't date the guy for the first time and then bring him to y'all. At some point, I guess they got to be headed somewhere. What's the right time for people to seek out you all? I got him. Let's go.
You got the fishing. You got the fish. I love it. I love it. And that's a good question. And really there is no time.
Okay.
Specific time. You know, because my thing is if as a man or woman, if you find someone that you think has the potential of being your mate, this is the time when you want to get this survey, this vision and mission statement started, because this is where it all starts. This is where you find out whether this catch is a minnow or if it's a bass. Okay. You know what I'm saying? If it's something you want to keep or if you want to throw back in, you know, into the river. So, you know, whether you just met them and you want to start finding out, because time is something you can't get back. You got to invest your time right. You know, you can't get time back once it's wasted. And too many women are out here with men who they thought was going to be the one. They wasted 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 years, you know, and then they'll use the excuse that, hey, you know, I like it the way it is, when they really want more commitment. And I can tell you, you know, those who are with men or women and you haven't been married for 10, 20 years or whatever, and there's still no real commitment there. Even though you've been living together for 10, 15 years, you know, y'all got the same house together, you got, you know, the same bank account, whatever, you know, there's still no real commitment, because at any time, you know, you can just, and you can do it in marriage too, but there's consequences when you marry. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not in the common law state, you know, somebody can walk off and leave you with the bag of clothes you came with, you know, and it's a whole, that's a whole gambit of problems there. But to reach us,
what's the contact information? Yeah,
you can go to our loveslockit.org website, and it has a contact on there. You can also reach us through our email, which is Jason, Jason, Jason Slaughter at loveslockit.org. So Jason, Jason Slaughter at loveslockit.org. And that locket only has one T, so it's LOVESLOCKET.org.
I got it there, I think.
And if you want to call us, you can call, you can reach me at 513-488-9500. And we can set up a 15-minute consultation. It's a free consultation just to see where you are, what your expectations are, what you're looking for. And we do charge for the service. Now, what we've done, because this is ministry for us as well, we didn't want to outprice everybody. And we're giving more than 1 hour. I know with counseling, you can do an hour and pay $125, $150, to someone, but we're giving 2 hours. And for singles, we're only charging $45 for 2 hours. And if you're married, it's $80 for 2 hours. Now we have packages that you can reach out to us. Yes. Wow. Because we're not trying to get rich off of this. Our reward we know is in heaven, but we also know that our time has to have some value to it. So, we have packages that if you want to book out months at a time, and we have people who have done that, you can even get a better discount even with that.
Give me your phone number again, and I'm going to commit to Tommy, you and your wife, and you all, and I'm going to commit to sort of buying a counseling session and maybe invite some young people to that. to just and we'll do it on Zoom, and then we might sort of come back here and talk about that. So your number 513-488-9500.
Yeah, Eric, I think that's a great idea. And I'm going to look into folks that I know who are single first, and who are grappling with this decision, which is, for the most part, it should be a lifelong decision. It's not an easy decision to make.
Yes.
Right? So if you're 18 years old, as my wife now in her second marriage, she was initially married at 18, right? And that was a long time ago, right? But I share that because my quick story, and then as we're soon drawn to a close here, me and my wife went to the movies last night, and I love my wife Penny dearly. And as we transition to leave the movie theater, we are driving past a Home Depot. And she knows that I have to get a light bulb for the outside garage door. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want a particular one. I had bought a 100 watt. It's too much for that particular socket. Need a 65 watt. I love my wife, boy. My wife, hey, Tommy, you want to go over to Home Depot? Oh, absolutely. Need to run over there. It's going to close in like 20 minutes. So the type of person I am and the type of shopper, I don't shop around. I go in the store, get what I need to get, and I leave.
Right.
But my wife is very different. She can just mill around, right? Spend the whole day shopping and come back saying, that was a good day. You don't have anything. So I go in, and she knows me. I beeline to the left, going to the light bulbs. She beelines over to the paint because we need to do some touch-up paints.
Right.
And so I quickly get my light bulb, come around the corner. I see that she's handling the can, right? So when she's handling stuff, I know that she's not going to buy anything. Handling it.
Right.
Hear me now. So I walk around. You know, I'm always looking like this, right? What's going on, Penny? She's like, is this the one we need? Yeah, that's it. Right? She hands it to me. She looks at some color, right? Now, at Home Depot, where you come in and where you exit are on the opposite sides of the store. It's for a reason. You come in one way, but then you have to pass other things to leave the store. It's a business case. I get it. I run a business. So as we're walking over to check out, my wife says, you want to take a look at baseboards? No, we don't have no time for that. That's the way I talk. We don't have no time for that. Come on, just real quick. So we go over and to take a look at the baseboards, which are beautiful. And she says, listen, I heard I heard that I can get somebody, a carpenter, to come in to install these at half the price. We need 232 linear feet of baseboard. Now I'm telling you this because I know she's already done the work.
Right.
How do you know how much linear feet? I'm an architect by design. I can see space. I look at it, it's $2.10 per foot. She says, how much is that? I said, $450, $475 plus labor. She says, I'll pay for labor if you get the parts, right? At the end of the day, what makes me love my wife at this point is I know what she's doing. She knows what I'm doing. In the past, to make my wife happy, I would do whatever she needs. But now I've been married for some time. And I can simply say, nah, we ain't getting those baseboards. And what does that look like, marriage couples? For me, it looks like when we get in the car, my wife is silent. She's thinking about another way to get me to say yes. I'm already thinking about what do I have to do to raise the money to give her the yes. We're all on one accord. So it's $500. I don't have it right now. That's not in the budget. Got to take care of this. Got ADT, got the mortgage, got all this good stuff that's not in the budget. So I'm talking money. No, she's saying, I'm going to get him to say yes. I'm saying, how can I get to a yes? That's what the marriage is.
Yes.
I don't want to be involved with someone in the single life that I go through that process and I have no return on that investment.
There you go.
I need that thing to come back, because when I come to my wife, which I will, to ask her something, which she knows, right? Because I have things I need and wants and desires. And when she says no, I just need to wait to ask her a different way.
That's it.
Yes.
So
that's understanding love language.
Yes, that's what it is.
That's understanding.
Tommy, you cut through something there, and you caused me to think about this. I'm gonna say this, and then Jason Lavina, you all have the final word. That my daughter speaks daddy. So I'll say something to my wife, and my wife will say with a confused look, like, what, da da da. And my daughter say, Mommy, what daddy's trying to say is da da da. And then when my wife is speaking, and I'm either confused, da da da, my daughter say, Daddy, what mommy's trying to get at, this is how you offended her. And so, but here's the thing, the lesson is that our children are studying us.
Yes.
With a desire to love all of us. And sometimes our blocks won't allow us to fully understand our spouse. I think maybe it's because we're so focused on our needs that we don't see all of them. And so a third party who loves us both can see some things. And so that's what we all have to work on, is trying to see the fullness of our spouse, and not simply through the lens of my needs that may be at times unfulfilled.
Yes.
That sometimes causes me not to be able to fully see her, because my filter is my own needs. My daughter doesn't have that same filter, and so she can see us more honestly, which is a lesson to us then.
That's good.
That's great.
That's good.
That's good.
And you know what? I'm gonna end with this, and I know this is going to generate you guys wanting us to come back on this topic. But when I'm looking at the pandemic and how it has been affecting, marriages and relationships, I want to. There was a question that you had presented to us that you wanted us to speak about concerning being mindful of me time. Okay, and I'm just going to touch a little bit on this, and then I want Lavina to end it. With how we operate. But me time is very important. With the pandemic, and what the pandemic has done is it has forced time on us that we normally would have away from each other. Mm-hmm. Okay. Whether we're going to work or going to school, or, we have now all been placed in one bubble, with 24 hours instead of 8 hours, So, the time that we each need at times to help us to gather our thoughts, to be silent, when you look at women, they're doing a lot of stuff, taking care of the children, taking care of the home, homeschooling, taking care of us, cooking, cleaning. And of course, men are doing these things as well, but and then work on top of that. There also have to be times when they can get off and the men are handling these things, or vice versa. And honey, you can talk about a little bit more on that me time, and then we can.
Yeah, I know we're winding up here. Do I have a minute or two?
Yeah, yep. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I think being mindful of each other is really another word to use is being respectful and aware of a person's space. They need space, they need alone time, and we should respect that and not be offended and take offense to it. Like, you don't want to be around me. No, it's just that I need some time to myself. I need to unwind. We just need to have some self-care. And like you already said, women, we put on a lot of hats, and so do some men. But as for Jason, like sometimes he goes and gets a massage and he's gone for a couple hours. That's his me time to relax and to just get away. So to his point, it's very important for each other, for the individuals to respect each other's me time.
And vice versa. If she needs to go get her nails done or her toes done or massage herself, or she just wants to go out of town, you know, and see her mom or her son in Columbus, you know, or I need to go see my daughter in Indianapolis or my son in Atlanta. Well, if we go to Atlanta, we're going together. You know, but you know, something that's an hour or 2 hours, you know, we give each other the ability to do that, you know, so that we can come back refreshed, you know, because if I go and get a massage, when I come back home, I'm refreshed. And now she gets 100% of me instead of, you know, the stress of me, you know, that it might have been. So you have to, whatever you have to find for your me time, you know, your self-care. Don't be afraid to allow your spouses to be able to do those things because it's necessary, you know, in a healthy relationship as well. Love God, love self, so that you can love others.
Excellent. Well, this has been a great conversation. We certainly appreciate you all joining us today. This will not be the last time. Tommy, it's been another great week, man. We thank you all for joining us, investing your time in diversity conversations. We look forward to seeing you next week. Tommy, last word.
It's been a pleasure to meet with the Slaughters. Loves Lockett. Please, community, dial in. This is a resource that is available and a resource that will bring value. I've enjoyed the conversation today. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Great going, said Jason. He said, hello, man. He's in the house. And I just wanted to say hello.
Who was that?
Jason Goins. I mean,
okay.
Wade Goins.
Wade Goins. Okay. I got you.
All right. Peace, everybody. We'll see you next week.
All right. Take care.
Bye now.